This month's episodes are presented in partnership with our good friends at Imagewraps.ca. Imagewraps.ca is your home for the best in signs and graphics that will be sure to get you noticed. They offer vehicle graphics, signage, and graphic design services that will help promote a business, event, partnership, or sale with exquisite appeal and a fresh look to bring eyes to you at a great cost. For our racing fans, look no further than some of the best looking race cars you see out on the track. Imagewraps.ca put those together. The cars of Andy Camrath, Cole Camrath, Carter Camrath, Ryland Camrath, Colton Everingham, Corey McAllister, Chad Strawn, Nolan Gould, Roy Wilkie, Layla Walzer, and every guest of ours this month all had their cars done by Imagewraps.ca. These cars shine on track while appealing to the partnerships on board. That is what Imagewraps.ca can deliver for you as well. Reach out to them at Imagewraps.ca if you want to glow on track with bright fonts, shiny wraps, designs that you reach and are appealing to the eye. We are so excited to present Image Wraps Month here on SNS, and we can't wait to see more of their designs on track. Not only they can offer this, but if you'd like designs for your race team, logos, marketing tools like banners, business cards, brochures, decals, they do that as well. This is your home for all things in visual branding. Go to Imagewraps.ca and start your look today.
Hi, this is Mario Andretti, and you're tuned into Cam, Graydon, and the team at Stickers N Scuffs Podcast. They're true Canadian racing fans.
Hello, Stickers N Scuffs family. Once again, back here for our finale for Imagewraps.ca month with the pride of Chesley, Ontario himself, Josh Stade, on the show. Josh, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I feel like I've seen you guys lots at the track, but we haven't had much opportunity to interact and talk race cars.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that. You know, we've gotten to interact with your good buddy Johnny Paradzinski, but now it's time we go to the big man himself, the driver, the number 17.
And even that spotter of his, too.
Even that spotter of his, that guy, yeah, why don't we start with that? Why don't we start with that? I'd love to know how you got hooked up with Joe.
Yeah, I mean, pretty simple. I've known Joe a very long time. Obviously being up this way, I dealt with Joe. Joe and I kind of put the Ridgeline sponsorship together. He was working for that company at the time. Kind of got our foot in the door with Joe. And yeah, I've known Joe a very long time, just being a Sauble. He's always been at the racetrack. I mean, obviously his dad was a big advocate in Sauble Speedway back in the day. My old man raced late model back in the day at his track. And yeah, I mean, the rest is history. We just know each other a long time and we fit. I feel like, I can't speak on Joe's behalf, but I feel like when Joe and I are, we got the headset and the helmet on, we work good together.
It's a very important thing to have between a spotter and a driver. Now, I was looking at the statistics and not too bad of a year for you this year. Obviously, you could have had a couple of wins. It was pretty close. a couple of times, and but there was a dramatic difference between your first year in APC, that middle portion, the last couple of years between 2020 and 2021, and then this 2022 and 2023, you have been in the top 5 in points. That's a huge difference between those struggles where you're outside of the top 10 in points and now you're battling for the championship. Was there a specific change that took place that you guys were able to get back into a championship form, or was it just a matter of just bad luck for a couple of years?
I mean, I feel like dramatically it kind of goes both ways. I feel like luck, we had a couple of years there where motor issues, it didn't seem to matter what builder we went to. We really struggled to keep the Ford underneath the car. But we got that sorted out and then started getting more competitive. Paul Ginoli Jr. is obviously a really good friend of mine, a big McCall guy for sure. So Paul and I, we click a little bit. Joe Lawrence helped me last year. I think more than anything is seat time, right? Like the more comfortable you can get in the car, the more races you can run. I wasn't where I wanted to be this year, honestly. We finished well in the points, but we had a couple of freak parts break throughout the year, and they kind of set us back. Sauble being one, I had high hopes for the second Sauble race. We broke that trailing arm mount, went back out, fixed it. It was tranny drive shaft. I had to borrow off JR Fitzpatrick. Went out, we ran 5th the whole race. I would have liked to have seen, if we got the second practice session, if we could have been up there in contention for the win at our home track. Kind of the same thing at Delaware at the end of the year. It was really like kind of looking at that 200 all year on the schedule and was really amped up for that. And then we blew a drive shaft in half and missed second practice. So pretty hard to dial the car in when you only get a handful of practices, and they're kind of short-lived practices. So you got to be able to take advantage of every minute that you can throughout practice. But obviously, yeah, we ended up okay, but I had higher expectations, I guess, of myself.
I'm glad you touched on that, because it's something for me personally as a very new driver. It's just, there's always a moment or even a couple of moments being a rookie on a racetrack. But I mean, as a driver, you can't always remember every instance of a race, but there's certain parts where you gave something away, and that's like the ultimate carrot to dangle in front of you for the next time to go back and get what you left out there. Because man, it's so frustrating, but I get that racing bug, because it's just, there's something that you can criticize about yourself, or like that you just know that you left out there that you need to go get next time.
Yeah, I would agree on that. I mean, obviously for me, I probably hold more pressure on myself. I find like if I have a good run at a track, like last year, the last race of the year, I drove from, I think it was 12th or 14th and ran up to 3rd and probably had a chance at the win if we would have had a handful more laps. But so I was really looking forward to that at the end of the year, and it didn't happen for me. The car was just a pail to drive. We missed it in practice because we only got the one practice, and but we still managed a top 10. But I always say to the guys, if we're finishing 5th or 10th and the car's in one piece and we're disappointed, then that just kind of shows you that we are capable of being a championship caliber team, if you will.
Yep.
So we finished 5th at Sauble. I was really disappointed, but all the guys on the team were like, hey, look, like we had a good run. Like that's how you win these things, is diversifying after stuff's thrown at you, and you got to fix it quick. And it is what it is at that point, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. That was kind of my follow up, is that you can always like pick yourself apart and know where something maybe got away from you or just got like by no fault of your own, but you can always count on the support group, and it's just, there's always a reason to go back and keep doing it more. And those guys that help you and have your back like throughout, it's a feeling that it's like family. I mean, they know, you got like a group of people that have your back no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously with my team, we are a family. And that spreads as far as the sponsors, and everyone on this team is a huge supporter of mine. And I mean, obviously we wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't fun, but if we want to win races at the end of the day, it's funny. A lot of people talk championship. The championship will sort itself out if you're winning races. I'm not too worried about points racing. I just want to go out, win the race, win at places that I haven't won at before. There's slowly strike off that list and say, okay, we've won here. So that's kind of our goal.
Yeah, we've seen kind of how the APC series has had some names that, for whatever reason, it just seems to take a while to get that first win. You were one of them. Danny Benedict was another. Is it more or less that the competition is just so incredibly tough in this series, and every year it seems like there's guys that come completely out of left field or come in with the all forces and battle for the championship, similar to like a Kyle Steckley, where as soon as he got into the championship, he was tough to race against and ultimately wins the championship this year. A guy you mentioned in Joe Lawrence, who takes a year off and comes back and is all of a sudden back in the championship hunt. The competition level has just got to be absolutely insane now.
Yeah, I mean, like APC right from day one has been tough. You have the best. I mean, there's a lot of great drivers at other tracks that are fortunate enough to run this tour, or maybe they don't want to run the tour or funds or whatever. But there's a ton of great race car drivers in Ontario. APC, I mean, some of the guys have a little more resources than others, right? Some of us work construction in the summer. We're pounding 16-hour days and then trying to work on the car. And a guy like Kyle, Kyle's dad's got a professional NASCAR Pinny's team, pretty recognizable. They won the championship in the APC, won the championship with the Pinty's car with Trayton, so they got a ton of resources. So the car is always going to be prepared, always going to be looked at. JR is always stout. I mean, he's no spring chicken to race cars. Joel, for that matter, Joel works full time on race cars. He's sometimes down there helping us set these things up, and then he's going and racing against us. So some guys definitely have a few more resources than others. It is what it is, but I mean, it makes it that much better when you can go head to head and fight for a win with them. And yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed in anything that we accomplish here. We're just a small team in a small town. We're kind of out of the hub of everything. We kind of seem to be on our own, and we just kind of do our thing, and you hope for a good run. I felt like Sunset was one that got away from us. We dominated that race, and I might have used the tires a little too much on the second last restart with Joe, and Joe got me. So, we're up there fighting for wins. You finish second and you're disappointed. So I think that just shows like the caliber of our team and the capability of what we can do.
You feel closer every year? Because it seems like even though it was fifth in points this year, fourth last year, compared to where you were, this is completely different territory for you. And now you are competing for wins week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for me, I'd race every weekend if I could. This year was just with work was just crazy busy. I got two young ones at home. It makes it a little more difficult, but I want to be in the seat of the car. It takes a lot of time, and I don't like going to the track not ready. I want to know that I have a chance when this thing rolls out of the garage. I mean, like I said, there's a few freak things that happened to us, breaking a trailing arm mount. We broke a drive shaft. There's a few things that we were fast in that junior Hanley race, and Dale kind of hooked us. And, I could have had I have a little more class than other guys. He was lapping me at one point, and I thought, I could wreck his day and drive off the track, but I'm not that type of person. He got into me 15 laps in, and we slapped the wall, and I feel like we were going to be in contention for that one. So that was maybe another one that got away from us this year. But yeah, I mean, we're just to give you an overview, there's the car. That's just last weekend. She's stripped down. We're ready to do our winter maintenance. The other one is sitting against the wall, race ready. It's actually for sale. But we don't mess around here. We're trying to, we'll completely strip this car, go through every bearing, hub, Heim, everything to make sure it's ready for 2024.
We don't always see the use of Toyota bodies up in Canada for whatever reason, and it's kind of cool to see it. I mean, the OEM wars aren't as prominent as they used to be in racing, but Cam and I both like to see like a nice representation of different bodies and OEMs, and it's cool to see like that Toyota late model looks pretty badass. So kind of talk about the decision to run Toyota. Is that something that's close to the family, or what's that about?
Yeah, not really. I love the way the front end looks. The headlights are sleek. They're nice and long, nice shape to them. When the car's planted on the ground, going in the corner, I mean, Cale Thompson with Thompson Photography gets some amazing shots of my car, as do other photography companies and people at the track. But I just love the style of the Toyota. It just has that sleek race car late model look to it. For me personally. And I like being different. I don't like being the same, I was pretty much the only Ford in the series for a good half of the summer. And it got to the point where I didn't feel like we could compete. And we had to buy a bow tie for it, unfortunately. But, no, you see 20 Chevy noses and 10 Ford noses, and there's like one Toyota. I just like being different, doing my own thing.
Yeah, you're not wrong, man. That thing is a beauty looking nose. It's a good looking race car.
Well, and it's definitely that ties into one of our presenting partners for this week, Imagewraps.ca. I mean, beautiful looking cars every year, really. But when you rolled out the Ridgeline Beast, man, the Green Machine, that thing took it to another level. So let's just talk about how the Imagewraps.ca team puts together what maybe your vision or even just your partner's visions are, because the Ridgeline look really is unique. And we're going to get back to that Ridgeline partnership kind of just after you talk about how the wraps go.
Yeah, so Craig has been doing, I can remember when I bought my first brand new late model, we wrapped it, which we used to paint the cars forever. We'd take each piece off, paint them. And then, I said to the old man, it'd be kind of cool if we did a wrap on this one. And that kind of got us started. That was in 2011. And we've been with Craig and Doug and the whole Imagewraps team since then. I probably drive crazy because some of these sponsors that you get, like Ridgeline's a corporation. So if they don't approve it or like the look of it, we have to start over from ground zero. So we went back and forth for probably a couple months until Ridgeline, me, and Craig decided on that wrap. And it's pretty hard to change it, honestly. Like at first, I wasn't much of a green fan, never really was. And then that car rolled out of his shop, and we did the thing at Truck World, and the thing was just, I fell in love with it. I like the green, I like the black, I like the charcoal. I just love how everything flows. And Craig and Tammy do an amazing job. And Craig's actually pretty good for accommodating us. I'll say, you know what, we rub the whole right side. I need to wrap half the car, and he'll be like, yeah, get it to me tomorrow. So he works pretty good with us. Pretty happy with Craig.
It's one of those things that I love seeing corporations that are not just Ontario or Canada, but they're all over. And I almost feel that you beat, and I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong here, but your partnership with Ridgeline beat Ganassi Racing's partnership, and you got the Ridgeline car before the Ridgeline Indy cars became a thing. So every time now that I see a Ridgeline car in IndyCar, I think Josh Stade. I don't think Chip Ganassi Racing. So now you're kind of semi-aligned. It's similar to GJ Kennington with Castrol and John Force. It's because you are a teammate of sorts, because you're part of the Ridgeline family. Have you guys done any sort of promotion with them? Because I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, so we had a big open house with our personal business, and the marketing girl from Ridgeline flew in from Miami, came to the Sauber race, and then so did their sales girl from Saskatchewan came, and we're a part of the open house. We did a bike giveaway. We gave away a Ridgeline nose with the Toyota headlights and the 17 on it. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff. Tom, the CEO of Ridgeline, great guy. Never met him in person. It's always been by Zoom or Teams. He's in Colorado, but everything that we do is like weekly meetings and how we can improve our social media and market their brand, market the race car. And they basically said to me that they have 3 people. They got a drift guy, an Indy guy, and myself, and they just feel like I'm the representation for Canada for them. Obviously it would be kind of cool if we could pencil a Pinty's deal or a ride or two together. If we could do that, that'd be awesome. But yeah, pretty fortunate to have like the marketing support that we do. My Canadian Flat Roof Systems family, Troy and Shelley, another couple that are just amazing to my family. They've become like a second mom and dad. They're at the track and they see something in me, and I represent their brand, and yeah, we're like super happy with everyone that supports us.
So how hard is that, Josh? Because you mentioned the social media side of it. And I really think that what you guys have here is very, very special, obviously, because partnerships like this do not happen very regularly anymore. It used to be a lot of the things we would see in CASCAR, you'd see major corporations, not really anymore. So how much work is it? And I think how much work do you have to put in? Because I think other race car drivers need to know this, because I think maybe there's some underestimation on how much you actually have to put in to activation and doing what the partner wants.
Yeah, it's a never-ending love of work, really. I like to think of the cars as kind of like a second job. Honestly, you're always kind of thinking about what parts you need to order, but you're also thinking about what I've got to do. And that with Ridgeline, I mean, obviously all of my fleet, everything's run with Ridgeline oils. So any chance that I get that I'm on the job, I'm using Ridgeline grease, Ridgeline oils, and I can market that when I'm on the job, saying, we got to top up the oil in this excavator with Ridgeline lubricants is a good opportunity. But it is you're always working at kind of the next step. What can we do? I'd like to get doing more TikToks, some more fun stuff. I want to get back to, like, when I raced at Salva, we did a ton of giveaways. Obviously it's just product and time to put it together and get that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it drives me crazy when people say that they have no money to go racing, because there's lots of people out there that want to support racing. You got to get them involved. You got to, I had this, even as far as the team goes, I had a young guy come up to me at Delaware and he says, my family doesn't have a whole lot of money. I'd love to race. I'd love to get involved. How do you go about? I was like, you just got to come to the track. I said, you ask any team down pit road, I bet you they'd love to have your help. And I said, if you're that interested, come out next summer or come to my place in the winter and we'll get you at least your feet wet and see what it's all about. And he's already emailed me in the last week and said, yeah, I talked to you at Delaware. I don't know if you remember me, but I want to get involved. How do I do that? So, I mean, you always got to be working on it. There's people out there that want to sponsor, but you got to see the vision. There's more to racing than just getting the car and the name on the car. You got to take it to events. You got to get the social media out there. You got to use those hashtags that they want. There's certain hashtags that some corporations want to use when they're flying a new product. So you just really got to see what their vision is and deliver it.
You just nailed it. When you see the vision, that's probably the quote of the episode, man, because that's the thing, is being able to sell your vision to help that prospective company see that vision and then believe in it and share in it. And to the credit, like to Ridgeline's credit, like you see your show, like when you guys go and show your car off at trade shows and stuff like that, I love marketing engagement personally. And when I see that stuff, I mean, that's what the old CASCAR racing and stuff was built on, was families and with their kids going and seeing and touching and looking at race cars. And it's so good to see that, because your product, I mean, Ridgeline's product and what you guys do, it goes hand in hand so well. And I'm a heavy equipment operator myself. So, I mean, lubricants are key to our business, and activation, there's nothing better than going out there and putting your car out there that runs on the products and letting everybody else see it at all these engagement. It's cool to see that stuff on the socials, because you guys get it.
I'm a big believer in it's pretty easy to self-market something you believe in, so when you're using product on the daily and it's never letting you down and you're in the heat and everything is working, I mean, it's a pretty easy sell. It's pretty easy for me to advertise and say, I'd be using this product because I use it. I am using this product. I do believe in it. So it's so easy for me to relate to it and try and, I mean, at the end of the day, sponsors want to see some return. That's hard to do in racing, because when you come to a racetrack, there could be 5,000-10,000 people, but you really don't know where that lubricant business focuses on in the grandstands. But you might have one trucking company that's got 150 trucks, and that guy's there with his son that day. And that's the opportunity. And that's kind of what happened with Ridgeline and Ultramar and the Parkland Corporation with me is the guy brought his son. One of the workers for the company brought his son to the races for the first time at Flamborough. They're standing around the car, and I said, get in, sit in it, and we'll get a picture of it. And that kind of opened the door. So you never really know who's approaching your car. It could be the next sponsor. It could be an existing business opportunity. It's just, you got to treat everyone the same and hopefully deliver what they want.
It's true. And that's how my relationship with Joe Jr. kind of came about, was when he worked for a company prior to this one, or he and I kind of exchanged, and our company bought some lubricants from where he used to work. But the point being is that kind of relationship can transcend racing and trickle into the day-to-day business. And that's what really can snowball into long-lasting partnerships, which is so critical these days.
Yeah, and I find, like, even with my Canadian Flat Roof Systems family, Troy has called me and he says, your car was at Barrie last weekend, and I had two people call wanting a price on a flat roof. They seen the 17 Canadian Flat Roof car. So I love hearing that. You don't get to hear those opportunities that much, but it's amazing that people are actually using the cars and spreading the fact that, hey, we watched your car this weekend. So, yeah, we always try to do our best to have the car as representable as possible. And yeah, definitely always looking for marketing partners, as anyone is, but really happy with everyone that supports us.
In Ontario, like, that's like the reality is a lot of racers have day jobs, and it's cool that you're in the trades and can have those connections to the roofing systems, to the lubricants, and it's a kind of a neat spot for you to be in, to be able to relate to those facets of the trades industry, to be able to engage that way.
Yeah, it is cool. And that's it kind of stems back to the Toyota. I love the look of Toyota. And if you look at TRD and Toyota, they're huge in the States. They develop a lot of guys. They advertise on everything from drag cars to drift cars to boats, everything. So I kind of started with the Toyota because I liked it. And then I tried to approach Toyota Canada about a sponsorship. We kind of got our foot in the door there, but then there was a change in CEO or whatever, and it just never worked. But you're always trying. I'm sending emails all winter long from the moment we stop racing.
Yeah, don't quit doing that.
Yeah, it's what you have to do, right? And I mean, Graydon and I have kind of learned this as being newer to the racing scene. Obviously, we're longtime fans, but being actually involved in either in a racing ourselves, or in with the podcast, or in a racing series, it is a really hard thing to do, is to learn how to utilize your skills, and also how to approach a lot of things, because as we know, we have a hard challenge here, which is, racing in a country where it is cold for a good bit of the time, and it gets snowy, and the weather isn't always the easiest. And with that weather, obviously, I think that, you've had a long-time partner on the car, MEI Paving. And I've got to ask, as somebody that, loves seeing the old become new, is there some facilities that could use some MEI paving right about now? Because you guys race on all different types of track surfaces, and we hear from drivers all the time. I don't have to name specific places, but we know that there's lots of bumps and holes and stuff on racetracks that could always use a little bit of MEI paving.
Yeah, so I did a couple years ago. I revamped the pits at Full Throttle with Paul Trepanier. I did all the pits in there. Paul at a Vision wanted to do some stuff with the track. We bounced back and forth for probably a good 6 months. He was a little unsure on what exactly he wanted to do. I think in the future, Varney could be getting a facelift. I don't know for sure. But yeah, I mean, it all comes down to dollars and cents, right? And Sauble, I mean, way back in the day, we paved Sauble. We did the initial way back in 2010, and I might be wrong, but when Varney reconfigured and did the D shape, we paved that D shape, reconfigured that with them. Sunset Brian has asked me about the bump at the flag stand. It's kind of one of those things that adds character to the track. And where do you start and where do you stop? Obviously Luke has approached us about Delaware, but one of his partners is J Arts, and they have a paving division. So, they had it figured out. They did a really good job there. But I mean, ultimately for us to travel to these tracks, I mean, we would do it because we love racing, but it would have to make sense for the track. They'd have to have a really good year. We got to get back. I feel like in Ontario, we got to get back to getting people to the track. The TV deals are great, but even me on a Friday night, I watch Rogers TV at Delaware, where most times, I'd maybe race it or just go down if I had the time. So yeah, the TV deals are great. I mean, they're good for me too, because like in the Ridgeline world, those sponsors are in the States, so they can live stream and watch the race. So, but we got to do a better job in Ontario of getting people out to the track and getting families out there, and drivers got to do a better job of acknowledging that, there's people that want to sit in the car, there's kids that want autographs, and make racing as big as it is in the States.
Absolutely. There's podcasters that really like doing interviews and like to annoy the drivers when they're going to go do their fun stuff at the track. And one of those things is, we really do like the opportunity to get to speak with, racers that you guys don't get a ton of opportunities to showcase yourself. Yes, we get to see a lot of the racing, but it's the personalities, the conversations that we get to have with racers that is the most fun for us, because you get to actually get to know them a little bit more. And when you see a driver out on the racetrack, it feels a little bit more personal, and we want people to experience what we've experienced. So by having you on the show tonight, we hope people have gotten to see a little bit more about Primetime, Josh Stade. Before we wrap it up, where did Primetime come from, and who was it that gave you that name?
Yeah, so Spencer Lewis and I are pretty good buddies, and I was racing Sunset in 2014, 2015 a lot. When I wasn't racing Sawball, I go to Sunset, and we had a friendship, and he says, like, dude, you're running at the front, you need a nickname, you need to be called something. And we kind of went back and forth, and he says, it's going to be Primetime Josh Stade. So it kind of stuck. It's been with us, some guys it's funny because the crew will write Prime Steak or Pastime, and so we have a little and but it was kind of funny. My first championship, had a few beers, and Spencer was interviewing me, and he says, why do you think that you're gonna beat Jason Parker for the championship? And I said, because it's not his time, it's prime time, and we beat him by 1 point.
That's a good way to wrap that, man. That's t-shirt material, man, right there.
Totally.
Hell, on the back of Ridgeline, there we go. That's merch.
That's right
there. But obviously we want to give an opportunity for you as well, Josh, because you have a lot of great partners. You have been able to shout them out so far, but there's also a lot of people that are behind the team, that are behind the scenes, that maybe people don't know. So this is your opportunity to thank all those people and all those partners that get you to the racetrack each and every week.
Yeah, like, I guess first of all would be thanks, guys, for having me on the show, right? I definitely agree with you guys. It's great for people to get an opportunity to meet us as drivers. We're everyday people. We're working jobs ourselves. We're not just doing this full time, and a lot of people, there might be an incident on the track. With late model racing, things happen in an instant. So maybe I've gotten into one of their drivers, maybe one of their drivers gotten into me, and they just hate me because they don't even know me. So great opportunity to get on the podcast, see what I'm about. First of all, like, my wife, my kids, my family, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my in-laws, everyone, big supporters of me. Obviously, this is a very time-consuming sport. It's our weekends. I've missed weddings. I've missed anniversaries. I've missed birthdays. I missed my prom, so I missed quite a few things with the day-to-day life stuff because I'm doing what I want to do on the weekends. But yeah, Canadian Flat Roof Systems, Ridgeline Lubricants, Vinny's Masonry, Ken Jackson Construction, Ryan Enright, the Cooperators, Nickel Insurance, Riley's Roofing, Shane Ferrier Contracting, APC, MEI Paving. Oh my goodness, the Deutsch Group, Rona. Yeah, I think I've got everyone.
He's got to cheat though, because he's got the car right beside him, Grader. Remember this.
It's the ultimate cheat sheet.
Yeah. And Piccoli Construction. We got a lot of really great supporters, a lot of really good business people, and definitely wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for them. And anyone wanting to get involved, there's always room. There's always an opportunity to just even come to the races and see what it's all about.
We love
Absolutely.
that invitation, because everybody should go out and support local racing, because it's the shit. We literally, that's where we've realized that.
It's so well put, bud.
Well, we know that NASCAR
That should be a T-shirt.
Is what shit. Weekly racing. It's the shit. But we're just full of ideas here, aren't we?
Yeah.
But we want to definitely throw a thank you to Josh Stade for coming on this last episode of Imagewraps.ca month. Obviously, you have the opportunity to win a number set courtesy of Craig Camerath and the team at Imagewraps. We want to thank them so very much. 2 sets. Yes, we have 2 sets available. And Josh, before we finalize everything here, how can people follow along with your team on social media?
Yeah, so I just started a separate Instagram account for the racing about a month or 2 ago. Stade Motorsports 17 on the Facebook page, Stade Motorsports, on TikTok, Stade Motorsports. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of avenues to follow us. We're always doing stuff. I want to get back to the TikTok. I had some funny TikToks. I used to mess around with the tech guys quite a bit. Daryl, I used to tape $20 or put a cheeseburger on the air breather with a ketchup question mark saying legal, just to try and break their, they're like the rest of us. They got a busy day, so I just try to break the ice a little bit and have some fun with tech and
nice.
Yeah, always posting some fun stuff.
I'm just saying that whoever's burger that was, perfect partnership right there. I mean, or the ketchup company, either way. I mean, you're just full of ideas there, Josh.
I know,
it
right?
is prime time. Josh Stade here on Stickers and Scuffs. We'll catch you all next week.